Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. I wanted to get into a love tarot story. I felt compelled right now. And I was like, I have a little bit of time. Let me just do it since it's talking to me right now. So here we go. Let's see. What is the message in regards to the topic of love? Hi, guys. Godzilla MC. Hey, honey. We have the Hermit in the reverse. Okay. Somebody needs to talk. Somebody's done with the long, quiet journey that they've been on. They've thought about things, they've churned stuff in their mind, they have gone on the deep dark dive to, the depths of their soul. They have contemplated the philosophical questions and now they're ready to talk. This could be a Virgo. Hi, everyone. So great to see you all. I know it's so early. I'm not usually on this channel this early today, but sometimes when inspiration strikes and I have the moment, I'm like, that has to happen then. We have Queen of Cups. Okay, so somebody does suddenly want to talk. They want to talk and convey something about love. So maybe it makes sense that we're going to do this story. You notice, though, that we have a Queen of Cups who seems to have been sitting here waiting. Either this is our character who's been trying to formulate the right words. Now, she is in this very gray environment, but I have to say, I just because it's a gray sky to me does not represent it's a sad day or sad energy, because honestly, like, my little blue healer hates too much heat. He loves gray days. His joy on a gray day and is just bountiful. So I look at gray days and I look over at my dog smiling at me with Batman and his little white fangs, and I tickled pink. So I don't look at gray days the same way anymore. It all depends on your reference point. So let's not say that there's any energy of like, I'm sad, I've been waiting, I've been sitting here, when are you going to talk to me? Also, queens don't usually do that. Queens don't sit around sad. Queens are like they're always busy. They got a life to live and they don't really see their own life as being put on hold. So I'm wondering if maybe this is our Queen of Cups who's been chewing on stuff peacefully, calmly. By the way, somebody could live like, I'm picturing of, like live off of a sound, or in like Puget Sound, or off of like the Isle of Skye, or one of the British, like off the British Isles or something. I'm picturing somebody who may live near a body of water. This could be a lake too, but it doesn't feel that way to me. We have the moon. Okay, lots of subconscious energy, but she's dancing under the moon. Again, not sad. I'm thinking that a Queen of Cups has found a very peaceful place in her life, peaceful place or moment in her existence. And this peaceful place and moment is perhaps like just really putting our character in a spot of like, if somebody does come talk to me, that'll be fine. I don't know that they're going to. It's not really my concern. I've been busy over here with my wolves, dancing and howling at the moon. I've been dealing with my own subconscious wishes, plans, dreams for my future. I'm going to say that this Hermit is 10 of Wands. Okay, so the Hermit is definitely, well, we could have a masculine. They've shown up as a masculine twice now. But this 10 of Wands is, burdens. I got these burdens that I finally laid down, and I'm sitting on my suitcases and I'm ready to ride that train. I am so ready now. This person, they could be a Virgo just because of the Hermit, but with the 10 of Wands, they could also be a fire sign. True colors. Thank you, Angel. Thank you so much. Oh, Ken Raimi, awesome. I love music, guys. Love to hear your guys' suggestions. All right, let's keep going. I'll say hi to everybody at the end. By the way, you guys, I'm so honored you are all here. And thank you again, True Colors. That was so generous of you. Thank you, my love. The Chariot. Okay, full steam ahead for this Hermit, possibly now Cancerian character. This is somebody who was obviously doing some significant healing. They had to, unpack layers of their own life issues, traumas, whatever it may be. At this point, we have a character who's ready to move forward with words to speak, because this is breaking the silence. The Hermits are in silent mode, when that goes in the reverse, and then we couple it with the chariot, we know only emperors and empresses get to ride in chariots. You have to be really certain, really sure of what you feel emotionally. And that's when you've mastered everything. That's when you've done that long work on yourself. That's when you've unpacked your own stuff. And that's when you've owned it. And now this is the person you choose to be. And you're, compassionate and fair and balanced, and you see other people's needs the same way you would see your own. That's part of being in the chariot. Means you are emotionally stable because you don't only think about yourself. You can have empathy for others around you, but the right kind of empathy. You've learned how to have, like, I'll say, we'll just say an empath perhaps, or a compassionate human being who doesn't get sucked into other people's energy to the point where they don't know where their energy stops and someone else's begins. Okay, so that's who wants to come talk to her. She is oblivious to this. This Queen of Cups has not a clue of this. I kind of think she's a bit of a dreamer. She could be someone who has strong Pisces or Cancer. We need to do a Cancer video tonight, by the way. I try to get Cancers out on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and it did not happen this Tuesday. But even though it's Thursday, I think we'll do a Cancer video. We have to now because of this Queen of Cups. But this could be somebody where she's got all these other dreams and ideas, and her mind is very active. And the last thing she's thinking about is somebody who hasn't talked to her in forever suddenly wanting to talk to her. That's just not even on her radar. She's kind of busy in her subconscious coming up with plans. I get this distinct vibe that she may be thinking about where she's going to move to, or what the next chapter of her life is going to look like. If she's going to get another dog. It just that, why not have a second if I've already got one? I just see these two wolves and they're both so happy with their mama. I got the Page of Cups. It is sideways. I think she's more concerned with what she personally wants to do, where her interests are. The pages are messengers. Page of Cups is, somebody who wants to bring in an emotional offer. Oftentimes we look at it as the apology card. But even if she knows that at some point in time, someday in this lifetime or the next, she could receive an apology from somebody, I still just don't think she sees it as coming up anytime now. It's too cloaked. It's too hidden from her. So let's just look. We have got the Six of Pentacles, and it is sideways. She's aware anything can happen, of course. She also has a good opinion of her own self, her own life. She knows that there's great people all around the world that you could connect to, build with, have great relationships with. She may not have somebody like that in her life right now, but at no point do we see her miserable and sad. I just think we see her as somebody who's aware in her subconscious mind. Sure, anybody could pop up into my life. But you know what I've been thinking about? I've been thinking about my next little, moonlight manifestation dance routine. Look at the star in the reverse. If anything, I do think she is busy considering what ideas she has that are maybe not coming true right now, what dreams she wants that are not coming true right now, what kinds of things. She may also be staying home quite a bit right now. She may be canceling a trip if she was going to go to Hollywood, or if she had a dream of becoming famous or something. She might be saying, you know what? I don't think I'd want to be famous. I think I'm realizing I like my life maybe a little bit more of an island. I like a calmer energy. She's very content. She doesn't pine for certain things. I think some of her hopes, wishes, and dreams are shifting a little bit. Ace of Cups is in the reverse. She does not pine for nor love some plan that once upon a time she wanted for her life. Okay, so hang on. What is it that you want now? Because Queen of Cups, you look very happy, but it doesn't look like you're pining for the same lifestyle that you used to. She's like, I love a nap with a comfy chair, a great cup of tea. I like the color blue. She wears blue a lot. She may look good in blue. She is like, oh man, I've created a pretty sweet life for myself. I'm pretty interested in the things that make me happy. We keep getting kind of dancey type cards for her. Five of Wands is somebody who's active brain. She's interested in other things. She could be surprising herself that she cares more at this point in her life in interacting with others, for the purpose of like, solving problems. Like maybe she's more small community oriented. I'm sorry, Aries has got to protect us all. But she may be saying, what gives me great joy now is to like be a part of maybe smaller groups where we're, working toward solutions. Fives are numbers of change. Five of Wands is numbers of like, we practice things, we try to find solutions, we analyze things. But it's like, I would just say, instead of pursuing like, I want to be famous, I want to be in the big public eye, she's saying, honestly, that is so not even appealing to me. I would rather be living in a small community. You did good. Sorry, my baby looks like, I do good, Mama. You heard me sing. Oh, he's back out there. You heard me sing the song of protection. We got the King of Pentacles. I definitely feel like she wants to put down roots in a very specific place. Maybe even open up a business. Maybe go into like local politics. Maybe to make a community more affluent or better somehow. I might have to go get him. He's really working hard today. Aries, baby. You did good. Come to mommy. I don't know if that's going to work right now. There's definitely Page of Wands. She's be in her bonnet. She wants to invest right where she's at. She's not totally like a homebody who doesn't want to deal with other people. She wants to deal with other people, but at a smaller, yeah, you did perfect. At a smaller level where she can make bigger impact and really build, like, I think a business or better bonds. And this is very exciting for her. Okay, so no wonder she's not thinking about somebody from her past coming in, riding the train to come get to her, traveling to get to her, coming into her world. Her world's very rich, and her plans are to like invest right where she's at. You know what? That's actually pretty awesome when you have like a purpose. Like she may be at a maturity level in herself where she's like, you know what? The stuff that we really do in our own communities matters. That's where we can make a terrific impact, a positive impact. I really care about positive impacts. I don't know if she's going to be like doing some photography, taking some pictures, writing up a review, doing something creative. This is that spark of the next journey for her, but it's about building roots, stability, and possibly business in the area she's in. Okay, so very specific story for her. So let's go back over to this person who wants to talk to her. First off, who is she to you? Hermit person, who is she to you? She's a Queen of Pentacles. She's somebody who has got this amazing, intention to build and to grow, and they're not surprised at all, probably, that the Queen of Cups is also a Queen of Pentacles, somebody who has the intention, like they know she would go far because she cares about things. She, invests in things. Okay. Page of Cups. She is also somebody that they owe an apology to. What do you believe you owe her an apology for? Oh my God, it's so hot in here. Sorry, my air conditioner went out yesterday because, hey, that's what happens. My truck's air conditioner is out again also, even though I already had it fixed in May. There's a new problem. So I'm just like being like roasted like a little pig on a spit, no matter where I am, inside my house or in my car right now. But that's life. So if you see me start to sweat, they are consider it like it's tears of joy from my pores. But this feels like with the Five of Wands, they feel like they owe her an apology for either creating unnecessary confusion, or maybe they were busy, interacting with others and trying to solve problems with someone other than her. We saw the Five of Wands for her, but in like a good connotation where she's kind of excited about, building and, finding solutions in like the area that she lives in and creating stability. And they're saying, I owe her an apology because I was involved in, maybe drama and solution solving, but it might not have been with her. Maybe I wasn't trying to solve anything with her. Maybe I gave my energy elsewhere, because this is them kind of like off in the dark of night. Over here, if you got to light a match in this secretive dark room, it kind of makes me wonder, How is she not privy to what you're doing? Why are you doing it in the dark of night? Queen of Swords, they were dealing with somebody else, trying to help. I don't know who the Queen of Swords was, but who was the Queen of Swords? The Ace of Wands. Somebody who either had big mad, look, this can be big passion, big desire, or like big feelings, like big mad. Oh, Three of Cups. Okay. So if this was a third party scenario, they were secretly trying to either assist somebody. I keep feeling like they had to assist this person. Like it was, they were thinking and trying to deal with this Queen of Swords. And I don't know if there was some sob story, like I need help, or I'm struggling. But then it's like they got sucked into, they were definitely dealing with two people at once in this card. Definitely. Yet they knew that she was really wonderful. Queen of Pentacles. So what is it that you've gone off on this silent journey, which normally means you went into deep thought process. So what did you determine on your deep silent thought process? The Moon and the Four of Pentacles. Something they don't want her to know, which is, did they marry this other person to discover that this person was like so latched onto them, or did that other person have secrets if they were claiming I needed help and it turns out they were actually kind of the monster? Look, this Four of Pentacles, this is a very greedy person dangling this little dude over by the bank. Hang on, I gotta make sure I understand this. What's the Four of Pentacles? The Chariot. Again. Okay, so that changes it because we got the whole family involved now. So in regards to this, okay. So it wasn't a matter of love on their part, but they were secretly still working things out. Maybe this is not who they were working it out with. Maybe this is a mother figure who said, you must work things out with your previous partner. Your previous partner still wants to be with you. You have a duty to work it back out with your previous partner. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you look closely, neither one of these feminines is wearing the correct outfit to be the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords comes in and has like rules and boundaries. But we already know somebody wasn't being truthful, so that wouldn't have been her. So I'm wondering if they were secretly being put under pressure by a mother figure who was like, this is what I believe is right, so therefore you have to do it. You need to get back together with your previous, whatever, spouse, your ex, your ex-wife, your husband, whatever, supply whatever gender we wish here. But you need to be there for her because that's what's right. And I do think that they kept that secret. But here's the thing. This is such a game being played. Whomever they were with was not nice to them. This was about money. If they gave a sob story to the family, like, oh my God, so-and-so, we're broken up and it's the saddest thing ever. And I need my person back. And then the family is like, you need to get back together with your ex. Do you realize how you're wrecking your family or something? I think it was all a game. I think this person was getting gamed and then told, here's the rules, here's what you have to do. So they were secretly still, I guess, allowing themselves to stay connected to an ex under coercion of other people that said that they had to. Is that why we see them in a wheelchair here? Because they have finally, obviously, they had to break away from the whole family. And the whole family looks very, they do not look happy about this. And it's like, oh, you're leaving the family then. You're not going to do what we said. You're breaking off on your own. You're no longer going to stay with the ex that we told you to. And it's like the ex is only about themselves. Whatever sob story they gave, that ain't the story. You don't know the half of it. You don't know the truth of it. I think nobody really knew the truth of it. The problem here is that, it makes sense why this person had to go into like hermit's mode, because just to like separate off from a family that was coercive, as well as the fact that they already lied or hid this whole half of the story from that Queen of Cups / Queen of Pentacles person. No wonder that's a big old burden. And look at the burden they had to leave behind. They literally might not be a part of the family club anymore, but it's definitely heavy, right? This has been a heavy cost for them to move forward and move on from whatever this environment was. Now, their first order of business is I owe her an apology. Yes, you do. Even though we could also say, man, this person really got, played. But you make your own choices at the same time. I'm not going to give this person a pass, even though we can understand how difficult all that might have been. There was still, let me go back to that. Let's pull another card on that Five of Wands. We can see, Five of Wands is where I'm trying to figure out how to handle this. Let me ask point blank, were you ever transparent with her, the person that you view as wonderful, this Queen of Pentacles that you owe the apology to? Were you ever transparent with her? This says, tried to be. This is Emperor mode. I tried to maybe tell her that but we got the Seven of Pentacles, which is I'm hiding in the bushes here for a long freaking time. Okay, so I think it's a yes and a no. I don't think that they hid. Maybe they were still technically married, but separated. Maybe that's why there was so much pressure to get back together. I feel like nothing was handled completely above board, but also it wasn't really a lie. I don't think that there was intended deception. I think he must have explained quite a chunk of things, but as far as timeline, maybe they were pretty vague about that. I want to be married to you. There are some things I still have to work out. I was married before. There's still some monetary stuff going on, but this says they were not truly transparent about that part. A lot that was hidden, and then they've continued to stay hidden away for quite a bit of time. So it's a blend. I think that their intentions toward her were probably good, but the way they may have handled things with their family, they too might have kept secrets about family doesn't get it. This person of mine, they are insisting I have to still somehow do right by. I am not staying with this person no matter what. But if there is a financial component, I will do my duty on that. I agree with mom. Mom says I have to, but I ain't staying. But if I have to make nice and pretend like I'm staying, they may not have been. This is very blurry gray area in some ways, and then it's very straightforward in other ways. I don't think this was an easy scenario that we're describing. I don't know how else they would have handled it, because most of if we're going to say there was deception here, they were dealing with somebody who was possibly pretending to be real sweet and really still in love with them, all the while it was just about money. If they were dealing with family members that had very strict rules, they're trying to honor the responsibility aspect, but knowing full well, I ain't staying. I'm handling the responsibilities and then I'm still out, but I'm not going to announce that because I don't want any more pushback. So I do think that they handled certain things with as much truth and clarity as they could while still keeping some things hidden. This is not straightforward. It is not. That's true. But nothing about this was straightforward on their end with, family and complexities and drama. But they want to apologize to her. So let's change decks. So what is it that you want to say to her? What is it that you want to apologize to her for? Please remember, it doesn't matter what genders we're talking about. This could be same-sex couple, reverse gender roles, either or. But Page of Pentacles in the reverse. I'm sorry I stopped talking to you. That's a big one. That's a real big one. You stopped talking to her. And you are a Queen of Cups. You were nothing but good to me. Yeah. We don't need to hear how awesome she is. We know. What do you got to be? Okay, I'm now putting him in the hot seat. You're sorry. You were great. I'm sorry. You were great. Again, I'm sorry I didn't talk to you. 8 of Wands in the reverse. And I'm sorry I didn't gravitate towards you. You were great. You were amazing. You were wonderful. You were sweet. I'm sorry I didn't come toward you. I'm sorry I stopped talking to you. Six of Swords in the reverse, Two of Wands upright. I'm sorry I couldn't move on from my situation. I'm sorry that I was at a crossroads for so long about how to handle things. Okay, so you did drag your feet then in just being able to move on. Okay, that's revealing though. I can understand the coercion of family and stuff, but this actually looks like they're admitting they couldn't figure out what to do. That doesn't bode well. I'm sorry I didn't know what to do, because we got the pride there, Hanged Man. So either they didn't want people to think poorly of them, they didn't stand up to family and say, I'm not staying with the wrong person. You guys need to understand that. See, I kind of think this person put pride, the wrong kind of pride, before the choice to be with the person that they knew was wonderful. They're sorry that they delayed all this, but that card concerns me on that one. Seven of Pentacles in the reverse, the Tower, and the Seven of Cups. Oh boy. They delayed. And then I think, interestingly enough, if they had just right out of the gate said, like, I'm wondering if their family got a whiff of the fact that they met her and they thought she was wonderful. And then family, Big Mama comes in and is like, whoa, you are definitely not going to move on with somebody else. You are going to reconnect with your whatever former estranged, spouse partner and reconnect with them. And they actually went ahead and let themselves be like, okay, like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. But then ironically, when you send out that vibe to the universe, like, I don't know, and it's coming from a source of like maybe pride or wanting to keep the peace with other family members, so they think well of you, the universe comes in and goes, oh, hell no. Okay, guess what? We're going to throw a whole bunch of new obstacles. You're going to stay right where you are. Big collapse, no more money, no more financial anything. They could have lost a job. They could have lost all kinds of stuff. So guess what? Now they're in their bed and they can lay in it. I do think that the universe came in and kind of said, whoa, you met somebody wonderful, then you didn't have what it was to actually go the direction you wanted to, because maybe your ego wanted other people to think highly of you. So you did the thing that you knew wasn't right for you, and you basically stopped talking to her. Then you know what? You stay right where you are. You stay right with the person that you are choosing, because you're not choosing to move on means you are choosing where you are. So guess what? You can stay there. And by the way, you're not going to have any money or any option on bouncing out. You're not going to have the money to go slip away and maybe try to get something else going with the Queen of Cups. You're going to have to figure out how to just meet your baseline. We're going to take it all away. It looks like the bottom dropped out of their life so that they could really sit on their butt right where they are. Because what they picked by not picking is right where they've been. And that might explain the length of time of the staying away. I think things blew up, and I think it was intentional. The Tower is a great card because it frees our mind of a stuck thought process. But in this case, their thought process was clouded seemingly by some kind of arrogance, like, oh gosh, I met this amazing person, but Big Mama says I'm not allowed to be with her, and I want to please Big Mama, so maybe I'll stay after all, even though it's wrong, and even though the ex and I are super toxic and this is all about money, but maybe, oh gosh, I just don't know what to do. But they did know what to do, but they didn't do it. So the universe said, you made a choice. So now sit there. And by the way, you're also not going to have the money. You're going to sit with the person that you didn't actually want to be with, and you're not going to have the comfort zone of money. Now you figure out what you're going to do. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm like sweating for that one. Okay. So the universe came in and basically gave them, the coming to Jesus moment. Got the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. Maybe they had to start relying more on family. Maybe they actually did build better relationships, more sincere relationships with family. Or they had to work in a family business, or there was something here. I don't know. This, with the moon, they definitely were out of touch with her. I feel like they thought a lot about her. even if they were now fully connected to, like, they had to rely on family maybe for their money. So now they're completely embedded right where they're at. Four of Pentacles. Now they have not a cent to their own name because technically maybe they're having to work for a place to live by being with their family who told them to stay with their previous partner. And now they can't even put a savings aside. She's further away from them than ever before. And every penny they have is already accounted for. This is taking them a long time, or has taken them a long time, to get themselves out of this rut they put themselves into. How did you get yourself out of this rut? Because, we're kind of like working backwards in the story right now. Where the story began is we have somebody who's been silent for a really long time, who's had a lot of burdens and a lot of things to clean up, and they're finally free, and they want to come. First order of business is, I need to go tell her, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't talk to you. I'm sorry I disappeared on you. I'm sorry for all of this. We've got the Seven of Swords sideways, and we got the Lovers. I said, how did you get yourself free? This does not look like they got themselves free through a nice legitimate way. Either the fact that he was still in love with her became clear somehow, that he had fallen for her, or maybe the partner that he was still pressed into staying with had a side lover or something like that. But there's definitely the somewhat secret other choice. Ten of Cups. Hang on. So who was revealed? Was it the fact that he was in love with her? Oh, no. Okay, so this is so wild. So after all this time has passed and he's been staying with the wrong partner, that wrong partner had somebody else on the side that they'd rather be with too. Both of these people would rather be with somebody else, him and whomever he was with. This is equally, I want to be happy with somebody else. Look, I didn't tell you, but I have a different lover. Yeah, well, guess what? I've been in love with this Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles all this time. I feel like there's two masks coming off if you look at this card. Two people have been lying through their teeth, staying together. Neither one of them wants to be together. They both have somebody else they'd rather be with, real happiness elsewhere that they probably both spy on. This is nuts. So that's the real reason he's finally out of this. So basically, he still didn't leave so much as, everything kind of ran its course. And it was revealed maybe at a heart-to-heart talk with that partner. Magician sideways. Trickery and manifesting. I really feel like we're dealing with two individuals, he and the partner that he was with, where we could say they were a perfectly dysfunctional match. They both didn't actually want to be together, but neither one of them could be honest and just pursue what they genuinely wanted. Can I just ask, universe, why is that? Because I think that's kind of an interesting, why is this that both he and the other person could not do this? We have an Ace of Cups. Maybe what was at stake is you got to be able to love yourself enough to stand up for yourself and go for the person that you actually love. Maybe if you don't love yourself enough and instead you're going to kowtow to the demands of family, because you got to appease them so that they can love you. Maybe that's what this is. Let me get another card. Three of Pentacles. It's definitely the question mark of, Three of Pentacles, it can be a wonderful card. So can the Ace of Cups be. But if this is like, well, I always have to think about the family. There's so much positive to be said for caring deeply about your family and unity within the family and happiness within the family, but not at the sacrifice of the individual. I don't think, anyway. Lots of times our family will not like who we date, who we love, who we marry. Times change, society shifts, hopefully for the better, hopefully more broad-minded. Hopefully we're a more accepting society. The more we awaken and mature as people, and we stop trying to control other people's choices and who they want to give their heart and their body to. Full-grown consenting adults should be able to love whomever they want, should be able to be whoever they want to be. As long as you're not harming another person, why can you not be who you want to be and love who you want to love? But that sometimes means you will go against what the family wants. You can't always be in harmony with your family. and also be in harmony with yourself. So it becomes, do I choose the good of the group, or do I choose the good of me? And I would say, since the wings of the divine are here, this is where the universe is like, look, they both had to learn how to love themselves more than love pleasing the family, pleasing especially the parents. You're not a little kid. Mommy and daddy don't have to give you approval. Look, I am, I have a strong opinion about this because I am not particularly well accepted myself. And I think I didn't become a full grown adult until I was okay with that. And it's like, some of my family won't talk to me because I do this. That's okay with me. I don't have to be supported and liked by everybody. Some of my family does still like me, love me. Some of them don't. And I had to get to the point where that's okay. It doesn't matter. I'm not here to please everybody else. I'm here to live my life, do my art, do what I choose to do. But if we would rather please others, when are we ever going to be ourselves? So not being supported all the time as an adult, that's like a rite of passage. And I just feel like that was the lesson. Who are you going to choose? Are you going to choose your own divine life and what you love, who you love? Or are you going to say, no, I just have to have mommy and daddy smile at me? And I'm sorry, I know it sounds really insulting to them because it's more complicated than that. I don't mean to make it sound, like mommy, daddy. That sounds mean-spirited on my part. But that was the core of the issue. Who do I please? Who do I need to be in harmony with? Me, my soul, my life, or what my parents wanted me to be and stay married forever to the wrong person? No matter that it didn't work for me, no matter that the person I'm married to also doesn't want to be with me. We're both in love with other people. I think that they were married to somebody, or, married / divorcing, separated, then getting pushed back together. I want to say they were in the same lack of self-love and dysfunction perhaps as that other person. They way too much people pleaser. And it's very hard to go with what your own soul wants. If first and foremost, it's like, but I can't not please the group. So that was the fundamental thing that made this so difficult. This wasn't about them being greedy about money or wanting an easier path or disrespecting her, the Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles that they loved. It wasn't about that. This was about the journey to be able to love yourself enough to displease the rest of the group and not care and go for what you want. And unfortunately, it took a long time for them to get comfortable displeasing the family. And part of it is the partner that they were with, they had to build the same backbone to displease the group and be okay doing that. Maybe those two were soulmates who had to learn that lesson. Hey, let's both agree we don't want to be together. Let's both break free of the family, happier paths for ourselves. Can we please shake hands and leave each other and go be with the lovers we would rather be with? That seems to be how this storyline wrapped up. That seems to be the way our character, was able to gravitate elsewhere. And now, it's a huge burden off of their shoulders. The being able to accept that family won't approve, but doing it anyway. And that's actually less of a burden. That's okay. They don't have to approve. I don't need the approval. That's a huge burden off, even though we would think, well, couldn't that place more burden? Not when you've already been under that kind of pressure to, acquiesce, surrender yourself, surrender who you are, surrender who you love, surrender what you believe in just to make other people happy so they're not upset with you. He can't do it anymore. This is a huge relief, but he's still pretty wobbly. But that's the energy that he's coming toward her in. And now it's tough because it's like, I owe her an apology. Yes and no. He also owes himself an apology for why did I do this to me? Why didn't I stand up for me a little bit more? Because it was a journey, right? This is actually kind of a great story of finding one's voice. So what does that mean in regards to her? Remember, that Queen of Cups has been oblivious to his journey, right? If anything, she's been busy little bee over here, sipping her tea, kicking back in her comfy chair, loving her life, caring about different things, getting invested in her communities, doing stuff that she's excited about. She seems to have built quite a great life for herself. So do we have a potential conversation? I mean, we know he's coming in with the I need to apologize to her, But do we have anything for the two of them? Okay, so Seven of Pentacles. She's honestly in such a great place. Yes, time has passed. A lot of time has passed in this story. This is not something in this story. We'll go ahead and commit to it being probably a matter of at least 7 months, if not years. This is not a short storyline. This is a bunch of time has passed. And she's kind of sitting in the top of her tree of life, real happy with what she's produced, what she's created. We have a King of Cups, but then we have this Two of Swords. I said, do these two have like some potential storyline? Remember, she's been a Queen of Cups. He's coming in, still sharks in his belly, right? But now master of his own ship. This is such a great depiction of everything we've described in him. Yes, he wants to be her man. He always did, but he stayed somebody else's man or woman. Doesn't matter. But this is him finally like choosing where he really wants to be, who he'd really want to be. This does not mean that, look, she may have changed her mind by now. She obviously has to think long and hard about this. Just because somebody comes in and they're like, I've learned all these lessons. I have so much I'd like to offer now. Is that going to be possible? This does not say it'll be possible. It says there's a lot to contemplate here for both of them still. I mean, honestly, they're probably different people. He certainly is a different person at this point. She's probably, quite a bit different as well. What she wants, we already saw. She doesn't even want the same life that she used to with that star in the reverse. We see her living a completely different lifestyle at this point. She may not be at all the person that she used to be. So do these two even match now? He wants to match her as the Queen of Cups. She actually is the Queen of Cups, though. Remember, he thought of her as the Queen of Pentacles before. We know her to be the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups. Page of Swords, Six of Pentacles. She may need to really suggest even, like, I think you maybe need to get to know me again, because I don't know that we're compatible anymore. I don't know. I mean, you're coming back in after all this time, like, you want to be with me, but since maybe we never really got a chance to be together anyway, do you really even know who I am? And then the same, she's asking of herself, maybe consulting with, a friend, therapist, counselor, spiritual advisor, talking some truth about him, right? Because he's on the Libra scale teapot here, and they're spilling the tea. And it's like, look, this person says that they want to be with me, Six of Pentacles. What I'm trying to figure out is, do they know me well enough to know what that means? I mean, we didn't build before. They've been gone a hell of a long time. Maybe they only just now started to find their own identity. Are they ready for that? Do they know themselves? Do they know me? Is this compatible? Do I want to give to them? It just feels like this is big stuff to consider, really big stuff to consider. So what do I want? What do I know to be true? King of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles. And remember, she was over here building happily. And I looked at the King of Pentacles for her as like maybe a career path or something, but maybe this is a different person. I thought of it as like building a business, investing in her community, enjoying doing things that she cares about. And it still could be, but it could also be an individual. She may be saying, honestly, as I've migrated and shifted throughout this time, I haven't talked to them. I had pictured myself with somebody more like a King of Pentacles. I pictured myself, building a legacy and, buying a house in a small community and, maybe investing and building a legacy in like a much smaller realm with a totally different kind of person, totally different kind of lifestyle. I don't even know if this person would want to share that with me. And would I want to share that with them, or do I have somebody else on my mind? It's interesting how he saw her as a Queen of Pentacles before. We see her as a Queen of Cups. He comes in and wants to be a King of Cups, and she's over here wanting to be with the King of Pentacles. I don't think that these two are very unmatched, all said and done. I actually think that these two could potentially be an amazing match now that he's got some, stuff sifted in his heart. But I do see her saying, I don't want to connect my energy to the wrong partner, because I have a plan for my life and I really want that plan to come true. I don't want to consult with somebody else who has a different life plan, and now I got to surrender anything that I've been building while he's been gone, dancing around with his ex and his family. I've been building a plan for my life and I like it. I don't want to change my plan for him because, and look, I know it sounds like rude because, all relationships are about, meeting in the middle. But she's saying, I don't think I would want to be with somebody if I have to get off the plan that I've created just because now he's back. So now I abandon what I've been building, the changes that I've made in myself, the way I've grown, the way I've identified what kind of a life I'd like to have. I want a rural life. I want to build, gardens. I want to be a part of a small community. I want a totally different kind of a peaceful life. I don't want to change my plans for him because he's back. I don't know that she'll have to. I really don't know. Is he going to understand that? Like, you're basically asking to be with her again. But unfortunately, at this point, it would kind of be, she's already built a life without you. You would be asking, can I step into your life? She's not going to be altering anything to match you. You would have to be matching her. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying that's the way it is. And I don't see her wanting to change anything for him. High Priestess, he does know that. Are you, okay, this is like moment of truth. Are you aware, really aware, that you're asking to be in her world and it's not going to be bent or altered to accommodate you? Or are you hoping to come into her world and then maybe like, slowly but surely I can also kind of change her mind on a few things that I don't love about what she's got planned? The Lovers, he's like, I want to be in her world. That's why I came back. Whatever world she's created, I want to be in her world. Let me ask this, because one more hard question. Remember, his struggle all this time was love yourself enough to do what's right for you. Did you learn that lesson? And do you want to be in her world because that is the life you want to have too? Or do you want to be in her world because, once again, you're going to surrender what you would really want for yourself and just go with the flow? Because then it would mean that you still haven't got the lesson down. Are you sure you want to be in her world? Yeah, Four of Wands. Okay, then. Whew. Sorry, I know I was asking the tough questions, but I'm like, if there's any hint of him that's like, no, I would still just be acquiescing. I would be like, no, don't do it. Do not get with another person and then still surrender your identity and what you want for yourself. You have to get what you want out of this lifetime. That's what your big lesson has been. But it turns out what he wants is actually the same lifestyle that she wants. Okay, then. Beautiful. And now I can get behind this story. I want the best for our characters. I really do. And it just feels like if they're really on the same page, why can't this work? Who cares that it took a bunch of time? Who cares that there were lessons involved? As long as it doesn't seem like she's over here saying, oh, I can't forgive them. She was more concerned about like, I'm not going to change anything about what I've got going down. Are they going to try to get in my life and think that I'm going to change something? I'm not. Like, I've got a big old plan. It's like, I've got a foundation. So they would either have to contribute to this and want this, to the letter, they'd have to want all the same stuff, and they'd have to be this huge contributing factor and have the same vision for the future with me and build as hard as I'll build to make the plan come to life that I want. Otherwise, I want to go find somebody else, not them. So her bigger concern was not like, how dare you have taken time to, sort out your mess, not talk to me and now show back up. She's like, well, I'm sorry, I'm a grown up. Like, I've got way bigger fish to fry here. I got this whole plan thing for my life. Great, you love me, but you do realize I'm not going to alter anything. I'm not sure he gets that part. And I'd much rather go find me somebody else who can, that I honestly share the same intentions with than even dilly-dally with him at all if we don't even have any of the same vision for the future. Turns out they do, which means this has a chance. It doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to work, but this is the life he's wanted, has always wanted. And it's interesting how even over time with her priorities that have shifted, the lifestyle that she wants, it's a little different than what it was before. It's interesting how that is still the lifestyle that he would want as well. So maybe they are a really terrific match. All right, I'm going to leave this one here. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will